Hello and welcome to the Week in Golf. I'm Rod Morrie. Good to have your company as we take our weekly wander around happenings in the world of golf. On this episode, we find out why golf is so important to a charity like Challenge, get up close and personal with PGA Tour star Brandt Snedeker, and check in with our viral videos of the week. Charity and golf have always gone hand in hand. In the US last year, the PGA Tour raised more than $140 million. In Australia, PGA Tour stars Robert Allenby and Jared Lyle have made one local charity a household name in golf families. Their work with Challenge over the years, raising millions.
In 1990, Robert Allenby was an amateur playing, and Radar did that massive putt that knocked him out from there. We thought it was an opportunity to get someone on board, so we asked Rob whether he would do a golf day for us. Who would have thought 24 years later we're still doing the golf day, and it's been a very important part of raising our funds. So in the time that Rob's been here, we've raised over about $25 million, which is extraordinary. Rob's been heavily involved in making little boys and girls' dreams come true, also going to hospital and giving them time. And again, you know, when a 17-year-old boy was diagnosed with cancer by the name of Jared Lyle, went in there and said, look, you know, if there's anything I can help you with, you know, I'm more than happy to do so. So that sent the road and the journey for Jazz to do what he wanted to achieve. Missing out on 2 years of playing, you know, amateur golf at the highest level meant that his dream might not have been possible, but through the support of Robert and other people that we had involved, that assisted Jared, but he always had the skill, so it was up to him to be able to do that. For him to come back into an environment that is not one that he enjoyed, to be able to give back to kids takes a lot of effort, because there's lots of bad stuff that's with that. People don't realise just how much he gives back. He's in here on a regular basis visiting the kids. Jazz is such a down-to-earth sort of like, golf is significant, but from what he's gone through, it's not the be-all and end-all. We meet a child when they're first diagnosed, and what we have to understand is that everyone else is dealing with a sick child. We're trying to deal with who the child was before they got sick. So we want to know what you liked, what you don't like, so that we can hopefully try and bring those positive things in to a pretty ordinary situation. We have to look at the whole family, brothers and sisters and patients, and we deliver services such as, you know, iPads or celebrity into the hospital, or a lot of activity days, lots of ticketing to concerts, all that sort of stuff. And then we need to look at mums and we need to look at dads, and we have identified that mums and dads are very different. Mums love to chat, dads don't. So again, we use golf as a medium for dads to come and have a golf day, come along, and if they chat, then they chat, and if they don't, well, nothing lost, nothing ventured. What you then find is that if the family or friends are in golf, one of the first things that people do is, oh, we'll do a golf day, because it bonds the community together, and people go, oh, I can do that. I can put in $100 to have a game of golf, and if it's going to help the kids, then fantastic. So that's where golf is such a unique thing. It's team orientated, but it's also individually orientated. So you can do as much or as little as you like to do, but at least you feel like you're actually making a difference. We deliver back to the families. 100% of our money goes back to our kids. We're very much hands-on with the people who work with us, and they are able to assist us to raise the money to deliver what we do. So we've had 2 golf days in the last 2 weeks, raised about 25 grand out of the 2 golf days, and from that we'll be able to deliver our services, and we go back to the people who have been involved and say, this is what your money did. So they feel part of the process, and so they come back and do it again. We've been working on Luke for 20 years. Jared's been the promoter of it. He really sees that using his position in golf is a way of actually helping to raise money. And if people want to get on board and support, then go ahead, do it. You know, for $30 you have a wood cover, which is stock standard out there. Knowing that 100% of the money goes back to Challenge is a great thing. So House of Golf have been selling them, and as a corporate, they made a decision not to take any money, and the whole 100% comes back to Challenge, which is a fantastic initiative on their behalf. I think at the end of the day, if we were able to get this into an international type scale, the amount of money that was raised could make a massive amount of difference to childhood cancer moving forward.
And if you haven't already, head to the Challenge website and check out some of the Luke the Duck golf gear. Not only is it cool, but you'll be helping a great cause as well. Time now to take a look at some of the world's professional golf, and to help us in that endeavour is a man who's very familiar with Jared Lyle's situation, iSeekGolf.com analyst Bruce Young. And Bruce, do we know where Jared stands in his bid to get his PGA Tour card back at the moment?
Morning, Rod. Yeah, well, I think he's played 5 events this season. I think my understanding is that he had 20 events to amass about 285,000 or thereabouts to get his card back. I think he's picked up checks in a couple of those 5 tournaments, so he's still quite a long way short of the mark, and I guess it's a matter of getting starts in some of the lesser events. So many of the events at the moment are full field events and must-play events for so many of the players. So when they start to ease off a bit, there may be more opportunity for him.
Yeah, and I think all Australians wish him the best in getting back to the tour. Bruce, to this week's tournament, of course, we saw all the stars were out at the Bay Hill event, but in the background, flying a little bit under the radar, a terrific result for a young Australian on the web.com tour. Tell us a bit about Brett Druitt.
Well, Brett Druitt, he's been a pro a couple of years now. I wouldn't have put him in the absolute elite category. He wasn't at the level of the Cameron Smiths or the Brady Watts or the Oliver Gosses, but he wasn't really far below them. He won a New South Wales Amateur Championship. I think he was the Queensland Amateur Champion one year as well. Played a couple of events for the Australian side, the Four Nations Cup and that sort of thing. But he managed to get his card to the web.com tour via the recently introduced China Tour last year, which of course is underwritten by the PGA Tour and is there to provide opportunities for players to get to the web.com tour. He managed to do that by finishing 3rd on their money list last year in China. And he's gone on with it this year. He's played, I think, 5 or 6 events. He's made the cut in 4 or 5 of those events, and he picked up a 5th place finish this morning and has moved to 36th on the money list. And I get the feeling with Brett Druitt that he's a grinding type of player, and he's shown that he's made the transition to professional golf very successfully, a bit like Jordan Zunic, who we saw that win the New Zealand Open a week or so ago. From out of the blue to some extent, he's come through. And I get the feeling with Brett Druitt, he may be in the same category. So the introduction of the China Tour by the PGA Tour is already proving to be quite a boost for many young players.
Yeah, some good players coming out of there, and certainly a name to watch for the future there, Bruce. Of course, one of the stars that we always look out for today, Adam Scott, Australia's only Masters champion, 3 weeks back into the year, terrific with the putt of the first week, awful with the putt of the second week, somewhere in between the third week this week at Bay Hill. What can we expect from Adam Scott perhaps at the Masters this year?
Well, I guess the thing we need to wonder is whether he'll play again. He's not scheduled to play in San Antonio. He hasn't entered for San Antonio next week. And on his schedule, the Houston Open, which he's won previously, he's also won San Antonio previously, but he's not entered for either of those 2 events. But you just wonder, given the fact that he's just a little bit off the boil at the moment, whether he might see the importance of another run before Augusta National, and that would have to be, therefore, the Houston Open. But whether he decides on that course of action or whether he just sticks with what he's got in terms of his schedule and stick with the putting arrangement he's got, remains to be seen. But obviously there are still some concerns, especially going into an event like the Masters, where the putter is such a crucial part of the equipment. There is a concern in that regard.
If you were to ask you, Bruce, long or short putter at Augusta for Adam Scott?
Well, it wouldn't at all surprise me if he brings out the long putter for that week. I know he's determined now. He's probably made the decision earlier in the year that he wants to, now that he's made the change, he'll stick with the short putter. But I think given the inconsistency, we saw a great week at the Cadillac, as you suggested. But the 2 weeks since have been a less than what he was looking for, I'm sure. And there may be some level of uncertainty there. And perhaps he may now think that he may go with a long putter for Augusta National. I don't know. Remains to be seen. But either course of action is probably appropriate, but I think maybe if he sticks with the long putter for Augusta National, after all he won there, such an important part of the equipment, as I said, at Augusta National, I don't think it'll be any great surprise if he comes out with a long putter again at the Masters.
Yeah, Bruce, it'll be interesting to see what does happen at Augusta. Thanks for your time today.
Cheers, Rod.
Well, as Bruce said there, it wasn't a great week for Adam Scott at Bay Hill, but it certainly was for Matt Every, the defending champion. Every won by a shot after making a magnificent final hole birdie to edge overnight leader Henrik Stenson. Sydney's Matt Jones led home the Australians with an impressive 3rd place finish, his 2nd top 10 of the season. FedEx Cup leader Jimmy Walker didn't tee up at the Arnold Palmer tournament this week, but that didn't stop the family name being in the headlines. Walker's wife Erin is a prolific tweeter and impressed plenty of people with this video from a trip to a US driving range at the weekend. Yeah! And for someone who only plays 4 times a year, that is, frankly, annoying. Walker wasn't the only one cheering after a shot though, with not one but two albatrosses recorded this week at Bay Hill. Daniel Berger notched the big bird on the 6th hole Saturday and Zach Johnson at the 16th on Sunday.
Second shot here at the par 5. He's got the round of the day going already at 5 under par. How about this? Will it? Yes, it will. Another double eagle.
You gotta kidding.
Yeah, terrific shots, obviously, both of those, but as the players themselves would admit, not without a bit of luck. But Berger and Johnson weren't the only two players to have a share of luck at Bay Hill. Brandt Snedeker got an amazing bounce on Thursday of the tournament, the 7-time tour winner hoping some more of that sort of luck when the Masters rolls around in a few weeks' time.
Hit the rocks.
You've got to be kidding me! You've got to be kidding me!
And 7-time tour winner Snedeker will be hoping for some more of that sort of luck when the US Masters rolls around in a couple of weeks' time.
Described as having the disposition and haircuts of a golden retriever, Brandt Snedeker showed the world he was back with a vengeance at the recent AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, returning to the winner's circle after a drought in 2014.
I'm doing great. You know, it's nice to be back in the winner's circle again a couple of weeks ago, and I think my game's going in the right direction, everything's going in the right direction, so it's been fun. A lot of relief, a lot of excitement. You know, it's good to kind of be back in the mix of things again and get the job done and get back in the Masters and the big World Golf Championships and all the events I wasn't in this year. So it's nice to get all that behind me and know I'm on the right path and things are going in the right direction.
With the first major of the year imminent, the build-up to the Masters intensifies, and with under a month to go, the drive up Magnolia Lane is firmly in all players' thoughts.
It was definitely a big goal of mine starting the year out, and every week I teed it up. That was my main goal, getting back in the Masters, and you know, an event that means so much to me. It's probably my favorite event on the planet, and mean the world for me to win there. So, you know, getting back in it's very special, and it kind of drove me all winter to keep practicing and keep getting after it, and I'm excited I was able to kind of overcome all that pressure I put on myself and be able to get the job done.
Augusta is clearly a course that suits Snedeker's eye. He's claimed 4 top 20 finishes, including tied 3rd in 2008. The Nashville pro certainly knows what waits for him among the pines.
Like every major you play in, the Masters is such a fine line between being on and being off. And all you can do there is be well rested, well prepared, and know that over the course of 4 days, you're going to have a stretch of golf there that's not very good. You know, you're going to get beat up a little bit. You're going to get some good shots that turn out bad. And you might 4-putt a hole or 3-putt a hole. You just have a way of doing that to you there. And you know, the guys that kind of stay patient the best and kind of keep plugging are the ones that seem to be successful there.
Snedeker fired his longtime coach Todd Anderson last year, replacing him with Butch Harmon. It's a decision he hasn't looked back on. And for someone generally adverse to change, it's going well.
I like to keep my variables to a minimum so that I know if something's going wrong, it's on me, it's not on my club. So if I found if I change clubs a lot, I don't really know if it's the club or if it's me. So when I find something I like that works, I typically stick with it for a long time. So I've had the same driver for 6 years, 5 years. I've had the same putter for 9 years and same irons for a couple of years now. So I don't switch very often, and I like it that way so I can kind of understand if I'm playing poorly, it's me, it's not necessarily the golf clubs.
Brandt's sole experience of the Ryder Cup came in 2012 when Davis Love III's USA side came unstuck in dramatic style. With Love confirmed as captain for 2016, Snedeker also hopes to return to right some of the wrongs from 3 years ago.
I think it was a great decision. I think that everybody that played on the 2012 team understood what a great job Davis did. How we felt, everybody on that team felt like we let him down. We felt like he did everything possibly he could have done for us to win the Cup, and we just didn't play well. And so for him to get another chance to go out there and show the world that he is the right guy for the job, especially in this kind of transition period where the new task force is formed, all these new ideas are coming to fruition, I think there'll be extra pressure for those guys on that team and extra motivation to make sure that we win the Cup back for Davis, not necessarily for America, but for Davis, because we realize what all he sacrificed to be the captain last time, what he went through after he lost it, and how much grief he got, unwanted grief, we feel like. It should have been us on the players, not on him. So I think it'll be a great fit for Ryder Cup for the U.S. team going forward.
It was back in 2008 when Team USA last had their hands on the Ryder Cup, but with a captain and vice-captain who have both lost before, journalists and players are alike in asking, what's different this time?
Fair or not fair, it's the reality situation we're in. when you win Ryder Cups, you kind of quash all that and you kind of put that behind you. You know, I think, I know being on the one that lost in 2012, I realized that we did everything right in the world to win that Ryder Cup, and it just didn't happen. It fell on us as the players. We went out and lost the matches on Sunday. Davis had nothing to do with that whatsoever. But when you lose a lot, like we've lost a lot, unfortunately, that's going to just get compounded and talked about. And so until we win one back, that's going to be the talk.
But the Ryder Cup will have to wait for now, and in the meantime we'll settle for the upcoming Masters and a chance to see Snedeker's latest attempt for major glory.
To the LPGA now, where last year's Evian Masters champion Ho-Joo Kim beat Stacey Lewis by 3 shots at the Founders Cup in Arizona. Kim's 21 under par total was too good for the field. Kari Webb the best of the 4 Australians, 12 shots back in a share of 34th. And that's it for this edition. We do hope that you've enjoyed it. We look forward to your company again next week on The Week in Golf.